Yo, what is going on, everyone? This is your host, Chardonnay'Rod, and you are now tuned into TARODCAST. For all of the new listeners listening to our show for the very first time, welcome. For all of the returning listeners coming back for another weekly dose of TARODCAST wildness, welcome back. Now at TARODCAST, you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. We simply just want to add some flavor to your meal. So if we are doing that, then we are doing our job. Today's episode is based on probably the most controversial song to hit the airwaves of 2020 to date. And there's so much happening regarding this song, and so we have to talk about it. That's why Chardonnay'Rod is here. So without further ado, today's episode topic simply is W.A.P. This is TARODCAST. Let's get it. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of TARODCAST. I am Chardonnay'Rod. Yes, we had to bring Chardonnay'Rod here for this episode because I feel like he is the only person that can speak on this topic fluidly and do so with as open a mind as possible, because this song, oh my God, I just, yeah, it's one of those topics where it just has to be addressed because so many people are talking about it. So many people have so many things to say about it. And with this platform, I feel like we will be able to have an honest conversation about how I feel about this song. And so before we get into the meaty meat of the matter, let's go ahead and take care of our housekeeping details. So if you would like to take our show with you on the go, just know that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Podchaser, Castbox, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and YouTube. TARODCAST is on Throne as well. Throne is a free live messaging application that allows us here at TARODCAST to exclusively reach our listeners. Make sure to sign up if you'd like to keep the conversations going after the episode. If you're looking for natural oils for ultimate hydration and care for your hair and skin, hit up The Resilient Lotus at www.theresilientlotus.com. And last but not least, if you are a lover of authentic chunky salsas and oh so wonderful birria tacos, make sure to reach out to Morenita's Salsitas. All this information, as always, will be in our episode notes. All right, y'all, so let's talk about W.A.P. Let us talk about W.A.P. Now, I'm probably going to have to put a explicit sticker on this particular episode because Chardonnay'Rod is here and I don't think we'll be able to control what he has to say and how he says it. So yeah, if you don't like cussing, if you don't like vulgar words, if you don't like any of that, then this episode may not be for you. But W.A.P is a song that is out here in the airwaves and is a Cardi B song featuring Megan Thee Stallion. And the song W.A.P is an acronym for wet ass pussy. Now, this song, I've listened to this song multiple times. I have seen the video multiple times, and as a man, I don't see the issue. I thoroughly enjoyed listening and watching the video and the music for this song. And so when it comes to this song, the first thing that I think about is sex. Of course, it's wet ass pussy. And when it comes to that, yes, this song is specifically about sex. And when I think about the artists who are involved in this song, I think about them, and I think about the fact that we are in an era now where when it comes to a woman's empowerment, when it comes to a woman taking control of her sexual identity, we are at the height of that right now. And so when I just experience this song as a whole, I tend to look at it with that frame of mind. And yeah, the lyrics are explicit. The video is explicit. There are asses everywhere. There are pasties. There are outfits. There are tongues. And I'm here for it. I am honestly here for it all, because this is not new. I feel like we are now entering an era where us millennials and the people and the parents and the grandparents and the politicians before us think that this is the most vulgar thing to hit the airwaves. And for me, and when it comes to my grain of salt opinion, I am here to say that it is not. Because when I think about just the history of hip hop in general and women in hip hop, I'm reminded of the Lil' Kims that we had, the Foxy Browns. I'm reminded of those women who pioneered the art of embracing their sexuality in a male-dominated music genre and cementing their place in hip-hop as women who were forces to be reckoned with, who did not shy away from expressing themselves to the fullest, because as we all know, and if you didn't know, let this be the first time that you hear it, but hip-hop from its inception has been a male-dominated genre of music. And because it's male-dominated, men typically have the ultimate say-so when it comes to what is talked about and who is talked about. And so when you have women who are MCs, people sometimes like to call them femcs, we tend to think of them as we think of women traditionally, as the weaker sex or the weaker MC when it comes to what is talked about. And so when we go back and listen to the lyrics of people like Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, you know, we see that when they came into the scene, they were guns a-blazing. They were tough, they were hard, they were street, but they were also incredibly sexual, and they held nothing back when it came to defining their sexual prowess. Because if you listen to music before they were introduced, and even music after they were introduced, and hell, even music nowadays, you hear so many men talking about what they are capable of doing in the bedroom, outside the bedroom, in the car, in an alley. It doesn't matter. When it comes to sex, men are the ones who are speaking on this particular act in a way where they are establishing their supposed dominance when it comes to sex and sexual activities. Men are also the ones who are the most misogynistic when it comes to the way that they are expressing the acts that they are rapping about. And so you will hear all over the place men talking about everything that they will do to a woman, while also demeaning the woman in a way to where she is nothing but an object for his particular sexual desires. Now, when we think about this, we all know the songs, we dance to the songs, we bump the songs, you know, all of it. And it is one of those things that when we really examine what's happening, we are continuously objectifying the woman as a sexual object. In doing so, we continue to diminish the value of women. And so when it comes to a song like this, and again, this is not a song that is the first of its kind. It's really not, because honestly, you know, this whole conversation even goes beyond hip hop. I mean, hell, thinking about the Summer Walkers and the Jhené Aikos and the Tinks and all of the women, even in R&B, who are continuously and just creatively open with their sexuality. It is something that unfortunately the wider world is not prepared for, because when it comes to black people and black culture in general, we are a very sexualized culture. And when it comes to sex, we are the most grimy with it, the most gritty with it, the most explicit with it. And when it is looked at through a lens of popular culture, we see that when it comes to the genres specifically associated with Black Americans, you find a lot more sex involved. And, you know, my personal belief is that when it comes to black people, we are the most sexy people out here. The way that we move, the way that we talk, the way that we walk, the way that we speak, it just oozes that sex appeal. And I feel like part of that is also ancestral as well, but that's another conversation. But when it is looked at under the backdrop of what is popular right now, this song has caused so much of a stir, so much controversy, that I don't understand where it comes from. So what I want to talk about first is a woman's empowerment, a woman's liberation when it comes to being her sexual self. A woman being unafraid of expressing her sexual self is something that has always been looked down upon, because for so long, men have been the ones who have been in control of a woman's sexuality. And so what I mean by this is that when it comes to a woman wanting to express herself in a way that is sexual, it is oftentimes relegated to a man's pleasure only. The whole term, a lady in the streets but a freak in the sheets, sums up this thought process, because we as men, we want our women to be eye-catching. We want them to turn heads. We want them to be the envy of other men. But we want all of that freaky shit to ourselves. And because we want it all to ourselves, we feel like we have this inherent ownership of a woman's sexuality. And that is wrong. Because a woman can exist completely and wholly outside of us in all ways. And we don't have any stake nor claim in a woman's sexuality. We oftentimes feel as men that we have free reign to explore and engage in our sexual conquest. I remember hearing the whole phrasing of men have the key and women have the lock. And so if your key, aka your dick, your penis, your schlong, whatever you want to call it, if your member is the key, then you have what it takes to unlock the locks that is a woman's vagina, a woman's pussy, whatever you would like to call it, coochie, whatever. And you are the one with the key. So you are the one who has the ultimate say so in who you go around unlocking. And when it comes to a woman, since you are the possessor of the lock, you run the risk of having your lock worn down if you let too many keys in. You run the risk of being labeled a hoe or being called fast if you let too many men unlock your lock with their key. Can you not see the bullshit that is that entire scenario? I'm like, come on, man. Like, we are people. People are going to have sex. People are going to fuck. Whether you are okay with it or not. Men don't understand the anatomy of a woman. I've talked about this in one of the Patreon exclusive episodes. And it's one of those things where when you look at a woman and when you don't understand a woman's anatomy, you think that a woman who has had prior sexual partners before you is someone whose anatomy, whose vagina is loose. And what we don't understand is that if a woman feels secure in the act of having sex with you, her body is going to respond in a way that automatically lets you in. It's not going to be this forced entry. There is no intruder alert when it comes to you having sex with her. The body is going to respond. The muscles in the vagina are going to relax to allow a man entry. This does not mean that a woman is loose. This means that a woman is ready to have sex with you. And we need to understand that, because women like to have sex too. And it is not predicated on a man. It's not. And so this song, Wet Ass Pussy W.A.P, it's not something that, in my opinion, in my grain of salt opinion, it's not a song that is glorifying a culture of what we believe to be women who are immoral. This is a song that is attempting to bring women again to the forefront when it comes to them having control over their bodies and also over what they want. Why is that such an issue? Why is that such a problem? Why do we have such disdain for this type of song? Because, like I said before, women have come before Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion with lyrics that were just as or even more explicit. But the thing is, us men, we feel like we have to have control over a woman's body in order for any of this to matter. And that's fucking wrong. Women are people. Women also have a say-so when it comes to who they allow and what they allow when it comes to their sexuality and their sexual acts. What men fear is comparison. Because if a woman has had sex enough, they fear that they may be judged, that a man's ego may be broken because there may have been another man that may have put it down better than they did. And we fear that. And that is hilarious. It's hilarious to me because it shows just how fragile the male ego is. And because we are so fragile, that's why we have this whole lock and key argument. And so a song like this completely destroys it because women are now taking control of sex. And men don't know what to do with that because we are so used to being the dominant player in this situation. And now, especially in 2020, where women are being more liberal with how they feel about sexuality, men don't know what to do with that because they don't have direct control over a woman. And I'm here for it all. Chardonnay'Rod is here for all of it. All of it. And so, we're actually going to go ahead and take a commercial break because I got a bottle of water close by. I need to make sure I keep myself hydrated. So I hope that you all are keeping yourself hydrated as well, because this might be the only commercial break that we take for this episode, because there's so much to say and I have to dive into it. So many other arguments that are being made that I have to dive into. So go ahead, take your water, take your wine. If you got a blunt rolled up, go ahead and hit that one time for me. And we are going to be right back. This is TARODCAST. Yo, what's good, everyone? This is your host of TARODCAST, Tarod Rashawn, and I just want to welcome you to the commercial break. Now, you already know what time it is. It's hydration time. Get some high-quality H2O in your system now. Got a few things I'd like to go over. First, to all of our new and returning listeners, thank you so much for your ear and your time. To all of our Patreon supporters, I just want you to know that we are not able to do this without your direct support. So the biggest, dopest TARODCAST thank you goes out to you. If you're listening in and you're thinking about becoming part of the TARODCAST Patreon family, we'd love to have you. You can find us at www.patreon.com/TARODCAST. Now on Patreon, we have 3 tiers of support. A $2 tier, a $3 tier, and lastly, a $6 tier. Each tier comes with its own set of unique perks. So if you find one that fits you, sign up. For us, the main thing is keeping our subscription prices affordable. We know that you work hard for your money, and if you choose to support TARODCAST this way, we truly want to make it worth your time. To find out more about our Patreon and the perks with each tier, visit www.patreon.com/TARODCAST. We've got it all laid out for you. Also, we've got a merchandise store. Pick up some tees, hoodies, leggings, and more at forevercertain.redbubble.com. All proceeds go right back into the TARODCAST podcast and allow us to keep making high quality content for people just like you. For our listeners out there who would like to support us in a non-monetary way, we'd love that too. Share our show with people you know. Also, share us on your social media. And if your favorite TARODCAST streaming service allows you to rate and review our show and you're loving what you're hearing, take some time and leave us a 5-star review. Ratings and reviews are what set us apart from other podcasts and also helps us to recommend our podcast to other listeners we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to reach. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, email us at TARODCAST@CRTN-T.com. That's TARODCAST@CRTN-T.com. All of this information can always be found in our episode notes, so make sure to check there if you forget any of the information we just went over. Once again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the program. All right, y'all. Welcome back to TARODCAST. This is your host, Chardonnay'Rod, and we are going to go ahead and finish out this episode because there's a lot to say. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this whole conversation, I've seen so many YouTube videos and people talking about this and how W.A.P is destroying black families and how these women should be ashamed of themselves, their role models, this and that. And I simply laugh. I give a Synba laugh to all of these claims because, again, as a parent, as a father to a daughter, I understand that my influence is supposed to be one of the strongest influences in my daughter's life. And I understand fully that she is going to have other influences that inspire her to be the person that she becomes. But at the same time, I am not going to rely on celebrities to shape my child's mind when it comes to who she wants to be, like to be the sole influence. Because when she came into the world, she saw her mother first. She saw me second. We bonded. And so that connection is never going to be broken, I hope. But when it comes to influences, what we need to realize is that we, especially in black culture, we are a culture that is dominant when it comes to blame and shame. And so when it comes to women, we shame them for how they develop. We shame them for dressing a certain way. We shame them for how they grow and how they fill out and how their bodies end up being as they reach and mature into adulthood. And we continuously shame them as opposed to giving our young girls the power to not be victims, to not sit here and believe that men are the ultimate authority in how they should conduct themselves. And so when we look at that, we realize that men dominate a woman's perspective on who she is and how she needs to be. And that a woman does not have any say-so whatsoever in her life outside of a man. And how is that fair? How? I need somebody to tell me, how is that fair? Because whether or not my daughter grows up liking this song or songs that come after it or not, I still have a responsibility in helping to make sure that she is the best person that she can possibly be. I don't care if she has a ratchet playlist. I don't care if she has a playlist full of conscious hip hop. I just want her to be the best person she can be. And people out here who are just running off at the mouth saying that this song is just the worst thing, that it is just glorifying all of this sexuality and this looseness and all, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, y'all are killing me. Y'all are seriously killing me, because for so many years, we have continuously held back our women from being able to fully express what they want and who they are without some sort of retribution or without some sort of label or name calling. And we, black men, black culture, we are responsible for that. And so when I hear this song, I'm just like, you know what? Look, women, do you. I am here for it. I support you, because I'm not going to be one of those voices that is going to try and keep you in a box for my pleasure only. I'm not. Because if we as men can sit here and just talk about everything that we will do to a woman sexually, why is it that we have such a problem when it comes to a woman wanting to express everything that she can do sexually? Riddle me that. Please, someone riddle me that, because we have held women back for so fucking long that a song like this is causing such an uproar. And it just lets you know how deprived we are. It lets you know how set back we are, because a woman expressing her own individuality is something that has caused such an outrage. I'm not looking at Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and Lil Kim and Foxy Brown and Trina, and I'm not looking at them to be the sole influences on women, on black women out here in the world. But if they offer a piece of themselves that allows a woman to express themselves in a way that is free, I am all for it, because women are sexual beings too, outside of men. I look at all the men who are slandering even like OnlyFans models and porn actresses and saying that this is just glorifying that culture. You know what? You know what? Men are just mad that women are finally starting to profit off of their sexuality, and men can't do the same. A woman's body is so much more desirable than a man's body, and the fact that women are now making money off of that, they're making money off of men who desire their bodies, I'm here for it. Take that power back. Because for far too long, we have been the ones who have had the ultimate say-so when it came to women's rights, when it comes to how a woman should conduct herself. And I am completely for women taking that power back, because I understand as a man who does not think traditionally anymore, women have been the subject of ridicule and control, and it's so funny to see women taking back that same control over their bodies and doing it in a way that actually profits them. I'm like, do it. Even in that video, there's an OnlyFans model there. I believe her name is Suki Hana or something like that. But she has made bank from her OnlyFans account, from thirsty men who want to see who she is. I'm glad that she was in that video, because this is a prime example of men who are engaging in content like this secretly, but they are slamming it publicly. It's like, you know what? Nah, bro, be fucking consistent. Be consistent, because you want women like her, but you want them all to yourselves. You don't like the fact, you're not comfortable with the fact that a woman can be open with her sexuality outside of you. The fact that it has nothing to do with you at all. You are so uncomfortable by that. And so now you want to bring up these arguments that it's destroying women, it's destroying families. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. Because if anything, when it comes to destroying families, creating single mothers destroys families. Not getting vasectomies destroys families. Being out here wild and rampant and just fucking women without no regard of who they are as a person, that's destroying families. So let's get to the real conversation. Let's actually focus on things like that, the things that we can change, because ultimately we are the ones, black men, who bear the responsibility of reshaping the narrative that we have created for our women. But we don't want that responsibility because it forces us to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror to realize that all of the misogyny, all of the what's the word I'm looking for? All the things that we do to women and say about women, it takes us to a point where we really have to concentrate on what we have done. But we don't want that, because if we think about that, we will become depressed. And we don't want that. We need to protect our fragile ass egos. We have to protect that. That's the only thing keeping us together right now. Because we don't want to accept the burden of responsibility that we really need to accept when it comes to how women are looked at and viewed, how our women are looked at and viewed in society. Because if anything, we are the ones who think that women who do not look like black women, the exotic women, are worth more than black women. We are familiar with black women. They are our moms, our grandmoms, our aunts. We are familiar with them, and so we have become desensitized when it comes to recognize a black woman's beauty, a black woman's individuality. And because of that, we see them as regular. We're familiar with them. So anything outside of that is more desirable. And so when a black woman steps forward and says, I am reclaiming my sexuality, we have a problem. Because there is a place that we believe they need to be in. If they step outside of that, they are problematic. Nah. They're not. They're human. Just like us. They're women. They have sexual needs and desires just like us. And so to limit them from being able to express that is unfair. I don't find that acceptable. And so we really need to work on ourselves as men, because we want all of this stuff. You look at all the music videos, fucking Tip Drill by Nelly. We all saw that. I was in middle school when I was watching BET Uncut and I saw that video. And it was nothing but asses shaking. Y'all remember that credit card swipe? We all remember that credit card swipe. I remember what I said when I saw it. I was like, cha-ching. And I was like 12 or 13 watching this. And the thing is, we want to control how women express themselves. We want to control how women portray themselves. But yet we also want to say it must be that ass because it ain't your face. Really? Really? So when women actually take the forefront and they're telling us what they want from us, oh, now our emotions are getting into it. Now we're destroying, they're destroying families. We're getting butthurt about the fact that a woman is now telling us what they want from us, as opposed to it being the other way around. Really? For years, for decades, for centuries, we have been the ones in control of women's bodies. And now that women are wanting to take back that control, we have a problem. We have an issue. I'm like, come on, y'all. Come on. First of all, these women are not, they're not out here to be the sole role models and influences to our children. It's not their responsibility. Again, even like Cardi B said, there are artists, there are femcs out here that don't get enough recognition. And so while we're paying attention to W.A.P, we're giving less attention to those artists that are making that conscious music that you want Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion to do. I don't get it. I do not get it. Because the moment that Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion starts rapping some conscious shit, you're going to be like, stay in your lane. So what do we want? What do we want? We don't know what we want. All we know is that we are scared. Because when women start telling us what they want from us, then we might start developing feelings of inadequacy. And we don't want that, do we? Nah, we don't want that. And so that's why this conversation is so, it's so widespread. Man, it's so funny because so many people, so many like traditional conservative minded black people. And yes, you are a conservative minded black person if you hang on to traditions that limit a woman's possibilities of expression. You are. And whether or not you want to hear that, that is what you are and that is who you are. Because if you relegate a woman to being a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets, you are limiting her individuality, and you are wrong. But again, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And so when it comes to this song, let it hit the airwaves. Let it break the internet. Let it continue to inspire the conversation that it is inspired, because I'm seeing a lot of y'all, and I'm taking notes. And I know who I need to associate with and who I don't. Because this song in and of itself is showing me that. And so because this song is such a topic of conversation, we have to realize that there are many types of people out here in this world. There are many types of people who will express themselves in ways that we may or may not approve of, but it does not mean that they don't have a right to express themselves. We don't have any type of say-so when it comes to a person's individuality. And so when it comes to two women talking about their wet ass pussy, let them talk about it. Because if you have a problem with it, that's on you. That is on you. It's not on them. They're not out here to please you. They're not out here to cater to your needs and fit inside your box. Because if you think that black women are relegated to being baby mamas or housewives or the good Christian wife, then that is your issue. There are many types of people out here in this world, and just because you think you have an understanding of who people are, it does not mean that you are correct. Let these girls make their song. Let them do it. Let them uplift the very women that we are watching in secret, but downplaying and demeaning in public. Because that says so much about who you are. So if you hate W.A.P, don't watch porn, don't subscribe to anybody's OnlyFans, don't do anything. Just stay home. Stay home and do what you do. Because they're not out here for you. They're not they're not your source of entertainment. And so you stick to what you know and let the rest of us enjoy W.A.P in peace. But y'all, that's our show. Again, this was totally unscripted. Yeah, I just had to bring Chardonnay'Rod out to talk about this because he's the only one that can do it and do it fluidly in a way that makes sense. But you all know how to find us and support us. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and also take this conversation to our throne room. We keep this information in our episode notes for every episode. Wherever you are, whomever you are, I want to encourage you to be more introspective and vulnerable with yourself. Know who you are, trust in who you are, and love who you are. Thank you all once again for listening, and make every effort to find and keep your peace. Let's bump WAP, y'all. Till next time.